Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So we continue to read Bhagavad-Gita, book written by His Glorious Achi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and today we will read verse 20, 21, and 22. So let's start. First of all, we will read um, prayer to the Lord. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad-Gita Cities, Chapter 2, Verse 20. Najayate mriyate vakadachin bhutva bhavita na bhuyaha ajo nityah shashvatoyam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharirem. Translation. For the soul, there is neither birth or death at any time. He was not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. And purport. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or kutastha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformation. It takes its birth from the womb of the mother body, remain for some time, grows, produced from produces some effects gradually dwindles and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not do through such changes. The soul is not born, but because he takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take birth there, and the soul does not die. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. That is, there is no trace in history of this coming into being. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc., of the soul. The soul does not at any time because old as the body does. The so-called old man therefore feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate, deteriorate like a tree or anything material. The soul was no byproduct and neither either. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls, and owing to the body, they appear as children of the particular man. The body develops because the body develops because of the soul's soul's presence, but the soul has neither of shorts nor change. Therefore, the soul is free from the six changes of the body. In the Katha Upanishad, we also find a similar passage which reads Najanyate mriyate vakadachin nayam bhutva nayam kutashchina bhuva bhuva kaschit ajo nityah shashvatoyam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. The meaning and purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagavad-Gita, but here in this verse there is one special word, vipaschit, which means learned or rich knowledge. The soul is full of knowledge, or full always with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is a symptom of the soul. Even if one does not find the soul within the heart, there he is situated. One can still understand the presence of the soul simply by the presence of consciousness. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to clouds or for some other reason, but the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that it is therefore daytime. As soon as there is a little light in the sky early in the morning, we can understand the sun is in the sky. Similarly, science, since there is some consciousness in all bodies, the man or animals, whether men or animals, we can understand the presence of the soul. This consciousness of the soul is, however, different from the consciousness of the Supreme, because the Supreme Consciousness is all knowledge, past, present, future. The consciousness of individual soul is prone to be um, for, forgetful. When he is forgetful of his real nature, he obtained an education and enlightenment from the superior lessons of Krishna. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. If so, Krishna's teaching of Bhagavad Gita would be useless. There are two kinds of soul, namely the minute particle soul, anatma, and the super soul, vibhuatma. This is also confirmed in the Kathopanishad. In this way, Anor Anyan Mahato Mahyan Atmasya Jantor Nihito Guh Guhayam Guhyam Tam Akratuh Tasyati Vitasoko Dhatuh Prashadan Mahimanam Atmanaha. Both the super soul Paramatma and the atomic soul Jivatma are situated on the same tree of the body, within the same heart of the living being, and only one who has become free from all material desires as well as limitations can, by the grace of the Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Krishna is therefore fountain, fountain head of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapters. And Arjuna is atomic soul, forgetful of his real nature. Therefore, he requires to the enlightenment by Krishna, or by his bona fide respens, res, representative spiritual master. Next verse. Vida vinashinam nityam yayanam ajam avyayam katham sa purushotah partha kam khatyati hantikam. Translation. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, inde- indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable, kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Purport. Everything has its proper utility, utility, and a man who is situated in completely knowledge knows who and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. Similarly, violence also has its u- util, uti, u, utility, and how to apply violence rests with the person in knowledge. Also, the justice of the peers awards capital punishment to a person condemned for murder. The justice of the peace cannot be blamed because he orders violence to another person according to the codes of justice. In Manu Samhita, the law book of mankind, it is supported that a mandara, a mandara should be condemned to death so that in this next life he will not have to suffer for the great sin he has committed. Therefore, the king punishment of hacking a murderer is actually beneficial. Similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that violence is for supreme justice, and thus Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well that such violence commit, committed in the acts of fighting for Krishna is not violence at all, because at any rate the man, or rather the soul, cannot be killed. So for the administration of justice, so-called violence is per permitted. Um, a surgical operation in is not meant to kill the patent, but to cure him. Therefore, uh, the fighting to the to be executed by Arjuna at the instruction of Krishna is with full knowledge. So there is no pos- posi- pos- possibility possibility of sinful reaction. Next verse. Vasamshi Jirnani Yatha Vihaya Navani Grihnati Naro Parani Tathas Tatha Sharirani Vihaya Jirnani Nayani Samyati Navani Dehem. As a purport, translation, sorry, translation. As a person puts on your judgments, giving up old honors, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Purport. Change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact, and the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth, youth and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in a previous verse. Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made positive by the grace of the supersoul. The supersoul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire to another. The Vedas, like the Mundaka Upanishad, as well as the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, compare the soul as the super soul to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree, and the another bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these two birds, also they are the same in quality. One is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the another is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is the witnessing bird, and Arjuna is the eating bird. Also, they are friends. One is still the master, and the other is the servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing this position from one tree to another, or from the or from one body to another. The devil's soul is struggling very hard on the tree of material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntarily surrendered into Krishna for instructions, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all limitations. Both the Mundaka Upanishad and Shvetashvatara Upanishad confirm this. Samanye vrikshe purusho nimagno nisya sochati muhyamanaha jushtam yada pashyati anyam sham ashyamahitmanam iti vitasakaha. Also, the two birds are in the same tree. The eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But if in some way or another he turns his face to his friend, the Lord, and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all excited, excited. Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad-Gita from him, and thus hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily changes of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight, so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life in the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentation. So I want to say that I have one realization. We have to first of this, we have to read about Krishna, listen about his pastimes, his glories, um, all times, every moment, every minute, when we have a free time, we have to listen about Krishna, because only um, on only to mm, building building our relationship, our uh, contact with Krishna, we can be free and happy. We we can be free from lamentation. It's once a way that we can do it. That is only way that that only way that we can be free from lamentation, and we have to take shelter uh, under the lotus feet of Guru, and we have to um, uh, do and we have to follow to his instructions. And today we will read about the soul and super soul. We read about qualities, about qualities soul, and that Arjuna have to fight his uh, with his relatives, because that because Krishna wanted that. Krishna Krishna's word is a higher than um, religion principles and another word. And we read that soul is about qualities, about soul qualities, and that we can read on this verse that soul, there is neither birth, that soul neither birth or death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. It's a very important verse because sometimes we can be in lamentation, we can too worried that I have this problem and another problem. Krishna on the next verse, Krishna says, "O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable, kill anyone or causes anyone to kill?" Yeah, everything has its proper utility. Utility. Yeah. And a man who is situated is in completely knowledge knows how to do this, in how to had to apply a thing for its proper utility. Yeah, so we have to read more and more the Bhagavad-Gita book because we have to read and give knowledge how we have to live in this world. And that's all for today. On the next verse we will read about the size of soul, and I want to say thank you for watching this video till the end, and we will see you on the next time. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. Please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna.